What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this POV review by Autobahn. My name is Max, and today we are taking a look at this 2023 BMW X7 M60i. It is the quite heavily facelifted X7. As you can see, split headlight design with the daytime running lights now separate from the high beam and the regular headlights. It is BMW LED. Yeah, is it an improvement? I'm not sure. I quite liked the pre-facelift X7. I think it's quite a handsome car. I think the front is quite nice. And this is a lot, there's a lot happening. There's a lot going on. It's much more aggressive than the pre-facelift. It's much more in your face, angry, and of course ties in with the new 7 Series design. Yeah, I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. If you think this is an improvement or not. It is a lot more aggressive, and because this has like an M Pro package, you also get everything in black. So all the details in the bumper, you get matte black for the grille surround as well. And a really big, ghastly M badge that is going to be nicked like in the first week after you pick it up. But it is different, and I do feel like, you know, with the pre-facelift, a lot of people had problems with the design of the X7, with the big kidneys, with the big like high front, and then those narrow headlights. I quite liked it, but I think this does like break it up a little bit more. So it's not as like high and big a slab of a bumper with big kidneys as the pre-facelift. So maybe this speaks to more people that way. This is a new color, by the way, frozen pure gray. Not sure how I like it. I think the X7 is best spec'd in like a nice friendly way, so like a dark blue or something like that. I think that works really well on the X7, but you know, people seem to still like that matte paint thing, so they still do it. And also 23-inch wheels on this X7 M60i. That is really outrageous. 275s, and these are BMW individual wheels. Behind that you get a choice of brake caliper color, so this is black, but you can also get blue or red. Quite a big brake disc as well, because this is a 23-inch wheel. That is just so big, so that brake is actually pretty big. Air suspension all around, of course. We've got an M badge on the gills here. M mirror design as well for the LCI, and black roof rails. Interior space, of course, this is why a lot of people buy an X7, and well, I'll say it is very, very spacious, because this seat is set to my position and I can sit behind myself, which is quite amazing. This is electrically adjustable, so you can also move it forward if you have people in the back, because this is a 7-seat configuration. And that means that you have like a bench and then 2 rear seats. Everything is done electrically, and it just takes a long time. So in the rear, of course, you have a lot of boot space, something like 326 liters with all seats up. You have these buttons right here, so if you press that button, everything goes down. Press that button, everything comes up, but you can also do it individually for the seats. 12 volt as well, electric tow hitch, and of course this is a split tailgate, which I quite like. Boom. Exhaust, this is a V8, of course, so we have a proper exhaust in there, but yeah, the outer part is part of the bumper again. Massive back box there. And rear lights have been redesigned as well. Ties in that chrome really nicely. I quite like the design of the X7. I think it's a handsome car. It's very large, but yeah, I quite like it. Don't like this though, this new thing that BMW is doing with all those like weird geometrical things for no reason. Not into it. So, engine. This is why this is a very comprehensive facelift as well. Because this is an all new V8 engine. Its code name is S68. It will be in the new 760i in the United States as well. It will also be in the XM, and it was introduced in this X7 M60i. So it's basically a continuation and evolution of the S63. So the previous V8, it's an S engine, so that means that it is a full-blown M engine. The previous X7 M50i had the N63, so that is the 4.4 liter V8 with 530 horsepower, but not an M code engine. Now, it is cool that you have this new drivetrain, 48 volt mild hybrid system as well. Still 530 horsepower, 750 newton meters of torque. 12 horsepower from the 48 volt mild hybrid system and 200 newton meters, which basically fills in the gaps and improves fuel economy. There is one problem with that, and that is the N63, you know, the M50 models, the 750i which we own. These are with M Sport exhaust, probably the best sounding BMWs out there. They sound incredible, and they sound better than the M cars, better than the X5 M, or better than the M5, because it has a different engine architecture. This, however, has the same. So it's like that SM engine, meaning it's got like a crossbank exhaust manifold. It's got a new separate oil cooler with a new oil pump. It's got a very light sump system and a reinforced crankshaft. And especially that crossbank exhaust manifold means that it sounds a lot less interesting than it did before. So that is a shame, but apparently, you know, efficiency and performance are way up, and it's also now compliant with the Euro 6D regulations, and would also be able to pass 7D, which is from 2025. So yeah, it is the new engine, the new benchmark basically, and performance is really, really good, but it just doesn't have the same character, the same charisma as before. Because if you take a listen to the M50i X7, so the pre-facelift, sounds so much better. So on the inside, we've got M60 there on the door sills. We've got massive M seats, which are basically, I think, an evolution of the seats in an M5. They are super nice and comfy and very supportive, very large. And the rest of the interior got an upgrade, or an update I should say, as well. So we've got the big dual screen right now with iDrive 8, which, you know, I'm not a big fan of, but I do like the fact that you have a bigger screen now. So the previous X7 had quite a small screen for such a big car, right? This is much better. So we've got carbon fiber trim as well on the dash, on the center console. Beautiful Bowers & Wilkins audio. That is a nice design. I quite like that. The only thing I don't really like here is what the hell is going on with that. This just super tacky ambient lighting strip that apparently also interacts. So if you get a call, it starts flashing. And I mean, yeah, no, not for me. Don't like it. I think it's a bit much, especially in an X7. No. Big panoramic roof. We actually have two, so a small one in the rear as well. And well, you can already hear the difference. So let's put it in Sport. Sport Plus. That's it. That's not a lot of sound. Well, it's very little sound, and a lot of it comes through the speakers, which is a shame as well. But let's go and have a drive. The 48 volt mild hybrid system is now incorporated into the gearbox, the ZF 8-speed, which works really, really well. So in Sport Plus mode you get harder shifts, you get more sound through the speakers, but not that much sound from the exhaust. So this sound, that with a little burble behind it, is definitely fake, which is a shame. Yeah, it just doesn't sound like anything. It's really, yeah, it's not an improvement, but performance wise, you know, it is able to get this massive thing off the line pretty damn quick. 4.7 seconds to 100, top speed 250. They also changed the air suspension, so both on the software and hardware side they made improvements to the air suspension to keep the car flatter, but also to account for the extra weight that this engine brings, because it is 120 kilos heavier than the previous N63 engine, like the M60i. 120 kilos, that is a lot, and that is all there in the front. So they changed the air suspension to cope with that. But I have to say, the car drives really well. You don't really feel that weight. The car stays nice and flat. Steering is nice and naturally feeling. It's, yeah, you don't really feel that weight. So maybe like on an on-ramp when you go onto the highway or something like that, but regularly on regular roads you don't really feel it. So let's do a launch control. Sport for the gearbox and ESC and traction mode. Give you guys a speedo. Not sure if I'm going to get 100, but we'll see. Yeah, there we go. That is 0 to 100. We actually did 4.4 seconds 0 to 100, which, you know, that is quite a bit faster than BMW claim, as usual. So onto the Autobahn we go. Look at that. That's not bad. That is actually not bad. So 100 to 200 we did in 11.5 seconds, which is also pretty damn quick. And we also measured quarter mile and half mile times, and especially that half mile time, it tied with a Range Rover Sport SVR, which is pretty impressive with that supercharged V8 with like 575 horsepower. That is not bad. That is actually quite impressive. If you compare that performance to the pre-facelift X7 M50i, which basically has the same power, it's 3/10 quicker, even though this car is heavier than the pre-facelift. So they definitely did something there, and apparently that, you know, that little electric boost does make a difference, and probably, you know, this S68 makes even more power than the N63 did. Other differences compared to the pre-facelift, well, the driving dynamics have really improved. So the tweaks they made to the air suspension, both the software and the hardware of it, they have really improved that, because the car is much more settled down. It's a lot less busy. It's a lot less American feeling, basically. The previous X7 felt a bit like wobbly sometimes, and it felt very large. And they really managed to improve that with this car. So full throttle, 160 kilometers an hour, picks up nicely. You still have to move a lot of air, of course, so the faster you go, the slower the progression, but still, it's not bad. It's also very quiet in here, actually, for such a big, high car. They have improved the sound insulation as well, I think. And I also have to say that these Pirellis that are on this car, I think they're P0s, but they are a special type, because they have a weird abbreviation on them. They actually perform really well. That on-ramp was pretty impressive. Tire noise is very low, and it handles itself at high speed as well. You know, such a heavy car. Normally the tires are the first things to go. They are also the first indicator of that weight. But they perform really well on this car. And I really like driving around in it. It doesn't feel that big. It feels manageable. It's comfy, it's spacious. It's practical. Yes, it is a little bit obnoxious. You would be perceived as a bit of an asshole driving this car, but I don't really care. I think it's a cool car. I just think the pre-facelift was a little bit prettier to look at, but performance-wise, this car does really well. That's the limiter again, 252. So easy and comfy, love it. So this engine, introduced in the X7 of all cars, will be in the new XM with even more power, but it will also be the engine that powers the new M5 that is coming next year probably. So it is a nice glimpse into the future. I just hope that they will be able to make it sound a bit better than they did in this car, because it's quite underwhelming. Anyway, that's it for this review. Hope you enjoyed it. You can subscribe by clicking the big button in the middle. You can also check out this video on the right or this playlist on the left. See you at the next one. Bye.